So yesterday I was cleaning out my old GitHub repos, and I found this absolute monstrosity from 2019. 47 commits, 3,000 lines of code, and a README that just says, "It works on my machine." Looking at this code was like watching a horror movie where I'm both the victim and the killer. And that's when it hit me. I've made every programming mistake in the book, and somehow I'm still employed. Now, before you click away thinking this is another learn to code in 10 minutes video, I've been coding for 3 years. I've shipped products that people actually use, and I've also written code so bad that it made my computer cry. Literally, blue screen of death. Today, I'm sharing the 11 biggest programming mistakes that nearly ended my career before it started. These aren't your typical don't forget semicolons mistakes. These are the soul-crushing, 3 a.m. debugging, questioning your life choices kind of mistakes. The kind that make you wonder if your parents were right about that accounting degree. Mistake number 7 alone cost me a job interview. I'm talking about the time I confidently told a senior developer that I could just Google it when he asked about Big O notation. Spoiler alert, you cannot just Google your way through a technical interview. Well, you can try, but they tend to notice when you're frantically typing, "What is recursion?" during a live coding session. But here's the thing, every single one of these mistakes taught me something that made me a better developer. And if you're watching this, chances are you've made at least 3 of these mistakes already. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Actually, drop a comment if you recognize yourself in any of these. Misery loves company, and I need to know I'm not the only one who once tried to center a div for 6 hours straight. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which mistakes to avoid, how to fix them if you've already made them, and most importantly, you'll feel way better about your own code. Because trust me, if I can go from writing functions called do the thing and fix the broken stuff to actually building software that doesn't make people want to throw their computers out the window, there's hope for all of us. So grab your favorite debugging beverage and let's dive into the 11 programming mistakes that will haunt my dreams forever.
All right, mistake number 1, and honestly, this one deserves its own documentary, not learning Git properly. Every time something went wrong, I'd just delete the repo and start over. I didn't understand branches, merges, or why my teammates' code kept disappearing. One time I ran git push force and wiped out 2 days of someone else's work. He still brings it up at parties. If you're new, learn Git before Git learns you. Mistake number 2, writing clever code instead of clean code. There was a time I thought I was some kind of JavaScript prodigy. I'd write one-liners so compact that even ChatGPT would need therapy to understand them. But here's the thing. Clever code impresses no one when you're debugging it 6 months later, wondering why you nested ternaries inside a map function. Readable code greater than smart code, unless your goal is to confuse future archaeologists who find your repo. Mistake number 3, reinventing the wheel. I once spent an entire weekend writing my own authentication system because I didn't trust libraries. 2 weeks later, I installed Firebase. Turns out, the real bug was my ego. If you ever find yourself saying, "I'll just build my own version," stop. Someone smarter has already built it, tested it, and fixed the bugs you haven't even discovered yet. Use libraries. Save your sanity. Mistake number 4, not reading documentation. Look, I get it. Docs are long, they're boring, but you know what's longer? The Stack Overflow rabbit hole you'll fall into when you don't read them. I used to think reading docs was optional, like reading the terms and conditions. But once I started actually reading them, my code started working. Coincidence? Probably not. Docs are like your project's spellbook. Skip them, and you're just waving a wand hoping something happens. Okay, those were just the warm-up laps. The next few mistakes, they're the kind that make you question your entire existence as a developer. Let's talk about mistake number 5, ignoring testing and how it destroyed my weekend.
There was a time I thought testing was for people who didn't believe in themselves. My motto was basically, if it runs once, it's perfect. Spoiler alert, it was not perfect. One weekend, I deployed without testing, went to sleep feeling like a 10x engineer, and woke up to 73 bug reports. So yeah, tests don't slow you down. They save you from explaining to your boss why your app now emails 10,000 users the same message twice. Mistake number 6, treating code reviews like a personal attack. Early in my career, I'd get a PR comment and instantly start drafting a 3-paragraph essay on why my approach was actually more efficient. But here's the thing. Code reviews aren't about proving who's smarter. They're about making the code less dumb. Once I learned that, feedback stopped feeling like criticism and started feeling like free consulting. Mistake number 7, thinking coding skill alone was enough for interview. I walked into my first technical interview like, I've built full-stack apps. I'm unstoppable. Then the guy hit me with, what's the time complexity of your solution? And suddenly, I was very stoppable. Theory crushed me. I realized I could build an app that worked, but I couldn't explain why it worked efficiently. That's when I learned interviews aren't just about writing code. They're about proving you understand code. So yeah, study your algorithms, or be ready to Google what is big O in front of another human being. Mistake number 8, building a microservice architecture for a to-do list. I once deployed Docker containers for a project that didn't even have users. I had Kubernetes running on my local machine just to store grocery items. Not every app needs AWS, CI/CD, and 6 layers of abstraction. Sometimes a single JSON file does the job. Keep it simple. Your future self will thank you when you're not debugging a cluster to manage your lunch plan. Mistake number 9, thinking communication doesn't matter. I used to believe good code speaks for itself. Turns out it doesn't, especially when your teammates have no idea what you just pushed to main. Learning to explain your thought process is as valuable as writing clean code. If you can't explain your logic to another human being, you're basically a robot that cries during stand-ups. Mistake number 10, only coding at work or for assignments. The real growth happens when you build your own stuff. My first side project was a weather app that only worked when it was sunny, but it taught me more than 3 semesters of lectures. Side projects give you freedom to fail safely. No Jira tickets, no deadlines, just chaos and caffeine. That's where you actually become creative. And finally, mistake number 11, trying to do everything alone. I used to think asking for help meant I wasn't smart enough. But honestly, refusing to ask for help just means you'll spend 3 hours debugging a typo. Every developer you admire has written terrible code, broken production, and Googled something embarrassingly basic. The difference is they learned, they shared, and they asked for help. So yeah, these 11 mistakes, they all hurt, but they made me a better developer and hopefully saved you a few mental breakdowns. If you've made any of these, drop the number in the comments. Let's normalize being bad before we get good. And if you're new here, hit subscribe because next week we're talking about the worst coding advice I ever followed.